Shalom, more praise to Yahweh Shemel Shah, double honesty, Apostle GMS. This is Amnawah Allah coming at you with the video. This video will be focusing on the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse. Well, basically the topic of sparing your words. Not talking too much, not saying things that's not necessary to be spoken. Basically bridling your tongue, and this applies to all of us, myself as well. But let's get right to the scripture. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 27. He that hath knowledge spareth his words. Right. A person that has knowledge spares their words. They don't really talk too much. Why? Because they observe. They assess a situation. They gather information. So someone that has knowledge spares their words. They don't speak that much. Because the much talk is much folly. A person can speak foolishness the more you talk. And a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. That's self-explanatory. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. So even when a fool is silent, he's counted as wise, because he's not saying anything. He's not uttering his folly. He's keeping silent. So therefore, the assumption is that this fool is listening, as opposed to speaking. Therefore, you assume that he's wise, or she's wise. So even a fool, when he holds his peace, is counted wise. The class can be quiet, and it could be the student in there that's not talking. You think he or she is gathering the information when they really just a fool and don't know what's going on. But that shows you even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. And he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Same thing. Okay? This is the book of Ecclesiastes 10 and 12. The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, right? They're pleasant, they're decent, they're, well ordered. Okay? Beneficial to others and to himself. But the lips of a fool will swallow up himself. The lips of a fool will bring him into ruin. So you gotta watch the things you say. Watch the questions you ask people. You don't want to get too personal with questions. Even if you want to know something about somebody, you gotta take into account, like, some things are just none of your business. You know what I'm saying? Some things are just none of your business. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't go and ask a brother, like if a brother, let's say you found out, hypothetically speaking, this even applies to people out there in the world, but let's talk about a brother in the camp. You hear a brother, let's say you hear a brother, woman is pregnant, right? But months pass, and you don't really hear about him having a baby. You don't go and say, your girl had a you don't go and ask him, your girl had a miscarriage, right? You don't know how you feel about that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how you feel about that. So that's just talking like a fool. The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness. What a wise man would do in a situation like that, he let the brother bring that up. He let the brother bring that up. That way he's comfortable in speaking on that particular topic. You don't go and ask him that. The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness. As soon as he opens his mouth, he sounds like a fool. And the end of his talk is mischievous madness. There you go. Wickedness and just foolishness. Silliness. Silly. A fool also is full of words. Yeah, a fool is full of words, always talking, never listening. A man cannot tell what shall be and what shall be after him. Who can tell him? Yeah, so you can't tell a fool nothing. Because they're a fool. This is Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. Whether it be to friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives. Yeah, so you don't really want to be talking about other people's, personal lives. You know what I mean? Going in depth to other people's personal lives. And if thou canst without offense, reveal them not. So it's best not to reveal it. So don't be going talking about personal stuff that, let's say, another brother told you about his own self to other brothers. You just running your mouth. You ain't supposed to be doing that. Matter of fact, I'm going to start up a little bit. Verse 6. He that can rule his tongue shall live without strife. Right? A person that can rule their tongue will live without strife. Because being that you can hold your peace, you can live without contention. You can live without strife. Because you know how not to say things to people that can offend. And he that hateth Babylon shall have less evil, right? A person that hates Babylon will have less evil. So when a person's always talking to him, you don't even want to be in the midst of that. You don't even want to entertain it. So you stay away from that. Rehearse not unto another that which is told unto thee, and thou shalt fear never the worst. Yeah, you'd be better off that way. Don't rehearse unto another which is told unto thee. So if a brother tell you something personally about his own self, well, that's between y'all. Even if it's somebody in the world, that's between y'all. And thou shalt never fear the worst. You're not going to be in the worst situation, because doing something like that is a wise thing to do. So you're never going to fear worse. In other words, you can't go wrong with these words of advice. Whether it be a friend of, read that verse, whether it be to friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives, and if thou canst without offense reveal them not. For he heard and observed thee, and when time cometh he will hate thee. So he heard you and he observed you, but when the time cometh he hate thee. If you're going around telling other people business, he heard you, he observed you, and when the time comes you reveal somebody else's business, they're going to have an issue with you. If thou hast heard a word, let it die with thee, and be bold, it will not burst thee. So if you heard something, let's say personal about somebody, let it die with you. And be bold, be of good courage. It's not going to burst you. It's not going to cause you to explode. It's not going to kill you. Because some people out there don't know how to, keep their mouth shut. They're always talking. A fool travaileth with the word as a woman labor up of a child. That's self-explanatory. How a woman labor with a child, she's yelling. Always, how she's raising her voice, she's yelling. That's how a fool is with the word. Just like a woman in labor is, exalting her voice. That's how a fool is with the word. He's exalting things that he heard, that he hears, and exalting foolishness. As an arrow that sticketh in a man's thigh, so is the word within a fool's belly. In other words, it's like a pain unto them. And if an arrow sticks in your thigh, that's a lot of pain and suffering. That's how a word is in a fool's belly. It hurts them to be able to hold it in. It hurts them to be able to contain it. They just got to talk. Kind of like a woman always got to talk. Or the people that also always on the internet trying to expose somebody. It's like a woman and a man in a relationship, but she going on the internet calling herself exposing them. That's something that a fool would do. Why would you do it and that's somebody you're in a relationship with? After the relationship ends, let me go on the internet and tell all this person business. Or your family mad at you, let me go to the internet. That's foolishness. Proverbs 18:7, a fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. There you go. His lips and his mouth is going to be the end of him, because it's going to always get him in some kind of evil, some kind of altercation, because you don't know when to keep his mouth shut. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. There you go. It's like wounds, man. It's hurtful unto them. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, because it's hurtful. They can't contain it within them, and it's hurtful when you hear them speak these words. And they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. Let's get a precept for that. Proverbs 26:22. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down to the innermost parts of the belly. But that's basically kind of the same scripture. They go down to the innermost parts of the belly. In other words, it's like a sweet, tasty food unto them. Words of foolishness. Their words are like wounds, and they go down to the innermost parts of the belly. It's like when a person eats something that's like a delicacy unto them. It's sweet to the taste, it's pleasant to the taste, and it goes right down into their belly. That's how the words of a talebearer are. It's sweet unto them. It's delightful unto them. It's like a lovely morsel to speak things that are foolishness. To not be able to contain a word or something that's spoken to them. They just gotta come out and say it. So those words of gossip is like a lovely morsel unto them that's sweet to their soul. They take great delight in that. And speaking about the lives of others. Proverbs 10 and 19. That's why if you notice, a lot of these talk shows is women. Remember you had Wendy Williams show, the Tyra Banks show, Rolanda Watts show, the Ricky Lake show, what other show you had? Rosie O'Donnell had a show, Sally had a show. Um, all of these shows, The View, The Talk, The Real, it's all a bunch of women. Because all they do is talk foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Proverbs 10:19. In the middle of, there was one the juicy gossip. In the multitude of words, they wanted not sin. Right, so in the multitude of words, they wanted not sin. It's no lack of sin when it comes to the multitude of words because it leads to sin. It leads to sinful things. Always talking. Because you could say something that could lead into yourself or someone else committing a sinful act. Let me not say this because that might lead to that. That's what Scripture tell you about a wise man's words. Being being well ordered. Scripture that I brought out earlier. In the multitude of words they wanted not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. See? He that refraineth his lips is wise. So you just gotta know when to say certain things, when not to say certain things. You gotta be patient. Your time gonna come. Psalms 141 and 1. Set watch, O Yahweh Bashmir Shah, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. There you go. They're asking the Lord to keep the door of your lips. Because if the Lord keeps the doors of your lips, it can prevent you from wickedness. It can prevent you from sin. You're asking the Lord to guide your mouth, guide your tongue. Now I'm going to give one more scripture. Now check this out. This is Matthew chapter 9 verse 5. Now this is talking about the transfiguration. Okay, Matthew 9 and... I'll start from 1. And he said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that there shall be some of them that stand here which shall not taste of death, so they have seen the King of the Most High come with power. And after 6 days Yahushua taketh with him Peter and James and John, and leadeth them up into a high mountain, apart by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. And his raiment became shining, exceeding white as snow, so as no fuller on earth could white them. So, that fuller, that goes into a whole nother, that was an occupation in the ancient world. I'm not going to get into that now. But there was no fuller on earth could make Yahushua's garment whiter than what it was. So it was like a very, very pure white. It was exceeding the whiteness of snow. And no fuller on earth could make it whiter than that. And there appeared unto them Elias with Moses. That's talking about Elijah and Moses. And they were talking with Yahushua. And Peter answered and said unto Yahushua, Master, is it good for us to be here? And let us make us 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. Let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Is it okay for us to be here? For he wished not what to say, for they were so afraid. So he was afraid. Peter, James, and John. Notice, Peter was the head disciple. He's the one that said something, not the other 2 disciples, James and John. For he wished not what to say, for they were so afraid. And there was a cloud that overshadowed them, and a voice came out of that cloud saying, This is my beloved son, hear him. Now you see what that right there showed you? And suddenly, when they had looked round about, they saw no man anymore, save Yahushua, only with themselves. And you know what that showed you? That you got to speak rather than listen. So when they saw the transfiguration, and Yahushua's garment was made whiter than snow, shining, exceeding the whiteness of snow, that no full on earth could white them. And they saw Moses and Elias, they was afraid. So Peter said, is it good for us to be here? Should we build a tabernacle for you, Lord, Yahushua? Or the word he calls Jesus Christ. Should we build a tabernacle for you, Yahushua, Moses, and for Elijah? Because he was afraid, he didn't know what to say. And when he said that, guess what happened? A cloud overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud saying, This is my beloved son, hear ye him. So right then and there, he was afraid, he didn't know what to say. So the Lord interjected, the Most High interjected, and said, This is my beloved son, hear ye him. Don't worry about Moses. Don't worry about Elijah. Hear ye him. That was showing him you listen more than you speak. You're afraid, so you said something, simple. about building the tabernacle for Yahweh Shai, for Moses, and for Elijah. So the Lord, the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Shai, interjected, and a cloud came over them. He said, "This is my beloved son. Hear ye him. Don't worry about Moses, Peter. Don't worry about Elijah. Y'all gonna listen. Don't worry about Moses and Elijah. All right, y'all gonna listen to him. Hear ye him. He's the top guy. See that right there?" And the scriptures say in Ecclesiastes 5:1, "Keep thy foot when not entering into the house of the Most High, and be more willing to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools." So be more willing to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. Which a sacrifice of fools is what? Saying things that are foolish. So Peter was saying something that was simple. It said, "Be more willing to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil." Now Peter wasn't doing anything evil; he was just being simple. But it was the spirit that Peter had said that, because that was written for our learning, for us to know who the Most High set up. Of course, we know it's Yahweh Shai, but that right there was written for our learning, for us to know and understand. It's not about Moses, it's not about Elijah, it's about Yahweh Shai. Okay? So, I will get Ecclesiastes 5:1, but I already quoted it. So with that, I'm going to close and say, "Oh, praise Yahweh Shemel Shai." That belongs to the Apostle GMS. I hope you learned something. Shalom.